when we fall on hard time, she got to go with the kids. Look, if my wife tell me, look, I have a friend that's a guy, you know, he told me I could go stay there. I have pride, but if shit not working out, she ain't sleeping on the street. She got to go. In my mind, look, you got to go. Like I'm gonna figure this out on my own. Don't worry about it. But you got to go. Whatever you got to do, make sure you and the kids is fine. That's priority first, and I'll figure this thing out. Cause the longer me and you on the street, it's gonna kind of stress me out. But at least I know you're somewhere safe.
So I've had this conversation before previously, especially with men and women. And the one thing that I want to point out is the woman's position to not just follow blindly. I think that's what a lot of people miscommunicate as submission. But the fact of the matter is that, like he said in the video, she has a backup plan. So her backup plan isn't necessary until his failure. And the fact of the matter is a lot of women are so afraid of what could possibly happen behind a failure just because we know something, that we're not allowing men to fail and being supportive and encouraging behind that. Just like we sit here and say, a lot of women fight with this, like men shouldn't see women as children. But in that same nurturing sense, us as women need to truly learn how to nurture our men the way we do our children, including encouraging, supporting when there is a mistake. And that's where we tend to, where a woman's ego meets a man's ego when it comes to a detriment. I don't agree that we should be using like be out in the streets type of example, because that's an extreme situation that does not happen a majority of the time. And if we're going to be on a panel using the majority as if it's a consistency, is just being disingenuous. So the to me, the root part of this conversation is allowing your man to make that mistake and trusting that you've already voiced it, and then helping him learn from it through it, not shaming him, not condemning him, not speaking down to him. But that's what we're hearing when we hear a lot of men say that, oh well, now they're holding it in rather than coming to her and saying, hey, this is where we're at. And then they seek that insight. But majority of men don't seek insight from the woman because of what her previous action told him. And so now he's withholding information. And when it blows up, she's like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, well, the fact of the matter is, like, I tried to do this before and you blew up on something small and made me feel, you emasculated me and made me feel like less of a man. So now I can't come to you when something big is happening. And I think if we're gonna speak from a woman being a wife, it starts from the beginning and nurturing him into the position to where he can come and say, this little thing is happening. What do you think? And then when the mistake happens, say, okay, you know what? I if you disagree, verbalizing it in a feminine, calming, soothing, loving way, and then allowing him to still make that choice. And if it fails, you know what? Not throw it in his face, but say, this is how I saw maybe this could happen. What do you think? And then nurturing him into the leader that you want him to be. Because I think a lot of the time we end up in love with the man who we think is a leader rather than who we are when we get together.
As a sister, she probably shouldn't have came to mistaken them and her, I guess, her other sister. She came to the two sisters. Is that what she did mistaken? Your sisters came to you and your other sister, right? Okay. Yeah, that should have been a conversation she should have brought to y'all, because I don't believe in discussing marital business with family unless it's something wrong. There's some type of abuse in that situation, or something like that. Now, being homeless, yeah, that's something wrong. Maybe they should, but that was an extreme. That was an example that y'all brought to the sisters. Not like she was homeless and she's coming looking for a place to lay her head and bringing her and her kids to lay head. That wasn't a situation. That was just an example. You will follow this man, and even to the point of homelessness. Yes, that is an extreme for a lot of people. Hopefully, nobody ever ends up like that. But you shouldn't be in a marriage if you're not willing to follow the man, not following with conditions. Oh, I follow you until you get us to the point of homelessness. No, you shouldn't. That shouldn't be the case. You should put no conditions on you following your husband. And just like your husband shouldn't put conditions on you because you're going to make mistakes. Well, heifer, you burnt my goddamn biscuits. I'm ready to leave you for a woman who could cook biscuits better. Yeah, we should be doing that, but that's what it sounds like. We okay with that. I'm going to follow you till you do something I don't like or I don't agree with or that I don't see fit. No, that's bullshit. That's why they always say men don't love with conditions. Women do love with conditions because, like Bo said, she's going to have a plan. It goes left. I got my get out of jail free fund. I'm going to get my rainy day fund. Those are the backup plans that y'all talking about. And those are extremes. It shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't have those type of situations like that because I'm going to be in it. Even if I do make a mistake, I'm going to find a way to get us out of this mistake. And so now I got to go find you and bring you back home because you decided that you didn't like the decision I make. Look, men are not perfect. We're far from it. We're going to make some mistakes. Now, hopefully we don't make mistakes to the point where we got an eviction notice, to the point where you're getting kicked out of the apartment or getting evicted from my house or something like that. Hopefully a man is not making those type of mistakes. I hope he's not. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen because it does, but hopefully that's not the case. It might. I mean, we had this conversation more about certain investments. A man's going to make investments if he feels like it needs. Is he going to have a conversation with his significant other? Yes, he should. He should talk to his significant other about, hey, baby, I'm looking at this investment. I think it'll be a great opportunity for us in the family and in the long run. I'm running it by you to see what your thought is. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make this final decision, whether you agree or you don't. And hopefully we can, live through this mistake, this decision, and we can flourish. Hopefully not fail, but flourish. Now, most of the times, and what I'm hearing up here is like, nah, I'm not. Y'all just ready to run. Y'all not in it for the long haul. Y'all in it for the good days. But when them valleys come about, y'all don't got no stick witness. At the first sign of doubt or trouble, we out. I'm looking to get up out of this situation. Get up. I'm talking to my sisters. I'm talking to my brother. I'm talking to the big mama. And we going over and I'm taking the kids with me. And you're going to have to figure it out yourself. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not good. Because one of them roles was worse and you was making a decision like that. And you made a bad decision. And now that man said, hey, I'm out. Yeah, you shouldn't have got sick. You shouldn't have caught cancer. You shouldn't have went through whatever you went through and got laid off at work. Yeah, I got to go. That's not okay. But you expect that man to stick with you, do that. Just I should expect my wife to do the same for me.
I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. First of all, I agree that the subject matter got taken about with the whole extremists. But when you think about a woman with children, that is our worst nightmare. And as a mom, that is your worst nightmare. It's like, where is my kid gonna sleep? Where are our children gonna sleep? So if you got a situation where you're both making a situation, yeah, baby, if it sounds like a good idea and we fucked up, I don't plan on being with a guy that'd be like, nah, we gonna all sleep in the streets together. I feel like maybe my big sister would, but me, I would definitely be dating a guy that'd be like, baby, hey, call my mama or call my cousin. Y'all go to the crib and I'm gonna figure this shit out so we can get. That's my first point. That's how that should go, even if that's worst case scenario. Second thing that I had to say is that there's just a lot of sensitivity. I feel like everybody, not just men, but everybody in this situation is like being real sensitive about decisions that need to be made as a couple. So Hink, you're like, oh, if she make a mistake, blah, 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 and take the kids. I feel like if everybody would just think in reality and say that, yes, I'm going to follow this man. I want a helpmate, which is what y'all say every fucking podcast, but then don't want no help when it comes down to the part where you need help. It's crazy to me. But then to also come back and say that you taking my kids. Nobody's saying that we're going anywhere. We just prefer not for our children to be in fucking destitute. And I would expect you to say the same thing. Hey, babe, do you have an idea so that I can get through this issue and our kids can still eat, sleep, clean, take showers, and go to school without CPS being called? Figure that shit out, because that is the woman's job. That's why you got with her. So I'm just trying to figure out where all this sentiment of now follow me into the motherfucking gutter came from, or follow me into our bad mistake. Even if the bitch did was like, yeah, baby, that's and pumped you up into this bad investment, it's still at the end of the day your responsibility. That's how I feel about men. That's how I grew up around men. We fucked up, but at the end of the day, you fucked up, sir, because you led her into that. So now make sure your children at least are comfortable. Unfortunately, they need somebody to take care of them while they're comfortable. So that includes your wife. So she got to go take care of the kids while we fix this shit. So I think everybody just being like super sensitive about that. Sorry, JR. And that it's just you making it harder than it actually is.
All right, so I like what Hank said, and I like what Coach said. Look, I agree with Hank when he has stated that this isn't a partnership. It's not a partnership. It's a regime change. It's like how you run a country. You know, we need advisors. The wife is the advisor. She bring advice, you know, directions, and it's up to us to make the final decision. But she doesn't have say in the direction we go. None. Now, I like what Coach and Miss Miss Taken said when they said when we fall on hard time, she got to go with the kids. Like if my wife tell me, look, I have a friend that's a guy, you know, he told me I could go stay there. I have pride, but if shit not working out, she ain't sleeping on the street. She got to go. You know, in my mind, look, you got to go. You know, like I'm gonna figure this out on my own. Don't worry about it. But you got to go. Whatever you got to do, make sure you and the kids is fine. That's priority first. And I'll figure this thing out. Cause the longer me and you on the street, it's gonna kind of stress me out. But at least I know you're somewhere safe. Now, but that's only when we talk about it though, you know. But if she decides that she's saying, okay, you know what? Look, I mean, I'm leaving you because you fell on hard time, etc. As a man, me personally, I have to accept it. My rulership, my regime, my country, I didn't do a good job running it. So thus I fell. And thus she about to go and find a new place. Now eventually I'm gonna come back up and it's up to me to decide would I take her back. But if we talked about it, yeah, no, look, no, nope, nope, nope. There's no if and a but. You got a place you could go sleep in. Go. Like if it just is let's look at it like this. Let's say if it's your daughter and her husband and her they're homeless now. You're gonna tell this chick follow this guy? Hell no, baby. You better come home. Tell that dude go out there find a job. Go find something to do. Come here. You could take a bath at my house. But every morning, if you're not out there, I'm gonna kick your ass out. Go find a job. Go make money. Go find a spot to go. You know to where you and your family could go together. But my daughter, come home. You could stay here as long as you need. The kid could stay here as long as she need. Him, she. That's what I believe.